Hey there, seekers and shapeshifters, healers and expanders. Welcome to the Embodied Spirit Uncensored. I'm Nicole D'Alessandro, and I am here to guide you through an in-depth experience like no other, channeled from higher wisdom through me directly to you. This is a place for those who dare to delve deeper, who crave transformation beyond the conventional, and who are ready to embrace the mystical union of science and spirit. Here at the Embodied Spirit, we don't just scratch the surface, we dive into the very depths of existence. Prepare to be challenged, to change, and to elevate into a new version of yourself. We're inviting you into an entirely new world, a realm that extends far beyond your physical being. So if you're ready to transform your understanding and awaken to your true spirit, you're in the right place. Let's embark on this profound journey together. I'm Nicole D'Alessandro, your show host, and today I am really excited about speaking to you about something that is really dear to my heart, and that is Reiki. Before I get into Reiki, which is also universal life force energy, I just want to give you a little bit of a background into how Reiki became so pertinent and life-changing in my life. 23 years ago, I was struggling to get pregnant. I've spoken to this in another episode, and my fertility journey, because I was already deeply connected to spirit, even though I'd forgotten those parts of self, nothing was happening. I wasn't succeeding. I was feeling lost and desperate. So I went on a journey to find out how I could complement my fertility journey with other healing practices. And it was a big release and a trying to let go. So 23 years ago, I stumbled across, literally, Reiki. And it was the most beautiful experience. So as a client, Reiki, Universal Life Force, we are receiving energy through someone else's gentle hands-on touch or through distance. Typically, we lay on a massage table, fully clothed, and depending on the practitioner, we are guided into a calm, relaxed state. We feel really cozy. Sometimes you get an eye pillow. Sometimes there's some really nice music playing. I always lead my clients into a progressive relaxation. So you might bring some of the body into, flexing and then gently relaxing. I lead you through a guided meditation. And then I drop you in. I call in Universal Life Force. And I start to move around your energy centers through the body. So around the belly, around the shoulders, around the heart, around the head and the ears. Then I come down around your knees and your feet. So it's a full body, beautiful energy that comes through my auric field through you. So my first experience was the most profound experience I'd ever had. And I have loved Reiki ever since all those years ago, 23 years ago. So it became very significant to me in my life, not only, I don't like the word healer, as a person who wanted to support the healing of others. It became very important in my children's life because they have often asked for Reiki healing. My eldest daughter has completed Reiki 1. My youngest daughter has been attuned and often gives herself Reiki. So that's the start. And for those of you who don't know, what I then went on to do was to study it. And then I went on to teach it. And I've kept this quite closed in the way I market my business because I find that this component of how I work is magnetic. And in the earlier times, people found me. And that was in 2016 that I actually started to set up business. And my first business name was Nicole D'Alessandro Reiki for Women. And I had 2 feet in 2 different worlds. So I was out in education. I was supervising in university settings. I was very mindful of trying to live 2 different lives. So I had the professional aspect of me, and then I had the spiritual aspect. So originally my practice was only Reiki. For those of you, and I hope you're following, because there's so much I could talk about through this. So that's a little bit of background. 23 years ago, then I went in to study it. Then I went into working in it as a practitioner, and then I went into teaching it. And as a practitioner living in these two worlds, I wanted to master the skill of Reiki in my private practice before I brought in anything else. And what I want to say to you people who are practitioners or who are wanting to change careers or feeling a calling to youth work, to counselling, or you're already counsellors or psychologists, or you're yoga teachers, or you're into ancestral healing, epigenetics, palliative care, death doulas, birth doulas, anything that is related to supporting communities through alternative methods as well as maybe conventional medicine. What I see a lot of you do is you go and take on all of these things, you go and learn all of these experiences, and you don't master any of them. And then you get completely confused, and then it shuts you down and you contract. And rather than bringing an embodiment and a very beautiful mastery of one thing before you go into the other, you shut down and you don't use anything. So my suggestion to those of you who are thinking about going into the healing space, learn one tool first and technique, get very good at that, then bring in something else. And when I say get very good at it, I mean practice, speak about it, write case studies, study it, live and breathe these beautiful qualities of the system that you are learning. So coming back to the client experience, if you are on your own journey of development and professional growth and mindset growth and human development and personal development, then by all means, go and embrace lots of different modalities. What I want you to be mindful of, if you are wanting just to be the client in the receiving of this expression, that you aren't running, because whether it's Reiki, counseling, coaching, or anything that you are wanting to pursue for a sense of personal growth and development, relationships are utmost importance. So you will get far more out of your experience, and long-term sustainable change will occur if you stay consistent with the modalities, the practices, and the practitioner that you are working with. And most of my clients that come to me as wanting to receive Reiki for whatever reasons, I'll get into that in a minute, they stay with me for years. What I do notice, though, is some people drop in wanting to just learn Reiki. However, what they don't see is the benefit in what happens after they've learned it. They don't see the actual benefit of staying with a coach or a practitioner to master that skill, to have someone hold them accountable. Because learning Reiki, receiving Reiki, and then going into business as a practitioner are very different qualities that we need to encompass when we're working with this energy. Bit of a mouthful. So coming back to, what is it? This life force that we are, this universe. You might see it as divinity or universal divine guidance or God energy. Whatever place you are coming from, Reiki holds no religious connotations. There is no religious bias to Reiki. It is purely universal life force, which is love. When we speak to Reiki, a lot of people get confused thinking that I am the keeper of universal life force. And I have a laugh because my brother-in-law once, because I can be very opinionated. And back in the day, in my ego, I would try and force it down people's throats. And obviously that pisses people off, right? And I still sometimes feel like I want to do that. But that's actually robbing someone of their own experience and their own expression and expansion in wherever they're going. So I have stopped doing that a lot. Although in my house, I sound a bit obsessive. What he said is, "You're not Jesus, you know." And I said to him, "No, I'm his sister." So that's because my faith is in Catholicism. So I found Reiki to be a beautiful developing of a relationship with Jesus, right? But that doesn't mean Reiki is religious. It just means my faith and the language that I speak is related to God and Jesus because that's my foundation. Do I consider myself religious now? No, I consider myself in union. There's a unity to me. I think that there is something beautiful about all religions. They all have the same sort of qualities and conversations. I'm going off on a tangent. So coming back to Reiki, it is not bias to any religion. It is pure love, and it is related to a system. And it was founded, the actual Reiki system, by a Japanese man called Mikao Usui around 100 years ago. There have been other findings, and since I've studied more so and became a yoga teacher and studied psychotherapy and brain science and all of those sorts of qualities, is there is a common link to the conversations around universal life force, and that it has been around for a very long time, so much longer than Mikao Usui. However, Mikao Usui coined the name Reiki. Are you following? I hope so. So Reiki is a system that allows a person to be attuned to the highest frequency of love through a series of processes that I teach. And this system has levels. Before I go into that, I'm going to come back to, yes, I have an ADHD brain that likes to go off on train tracks and roll around and come back. So 23 years ago when I started this, I then went to study it. I then just gave it to people. I became a master of Reiki, which means I could teach it. I wanted to self-master it first, so I had so many sessions over 23 years so I could embody the actual feeling of Reiki. I went to lots of different practitioners. I had a lot of people, when they bring Reiki in, they bring in psychic readings, they bring in mediumship, they bring in ancestral healing, they bring in reading Akashic records, they bring in shamanism. I want you to understand that is not Reiki. That is bringing a whole other skill set, because what Reiki does when you learn about Reiki, and quite often when you have or receive Reiki often, it opens up your beautiful capacity to embody that which you are, which is wise, ever-present, all-knowing. So it activates your psychic awareness and your deep intuitive powers. But when we give Reiki, there's a lot of confusion and people get a bit voodoo about it. They think that it's religious or it goes against your religion because there's other things that are going on in that practitioner's work that isn't Reiki. So before I taught Reiki to practitioners so that they could go and teach it and share it and become practitioners, I wanted to master it. So I spent 5 or 6 years honing my skills in the background very quietly, while I was also working in mainstream education systems. Once I felt really comfortable, I built up a really great clientele. I then jumped all in to teaching it. And for the last few years, I have been bringing Reiki into my therapeutic space with somatic work, with the psychotherapy side, with yoga, movement, and all of those beautiful philosophies. I've brought Reiki into my practice, and then I went into teaching. And in fact, this 2024 is the last year for some time that I will be teaching groups Reiki, the Reiki systems. And why? Because I'm expanding into my embodied spirituality program. And the nature of energetics for me is far more vast and broad than simply Reiki. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to be teaching Reiki. It just means I won't be teaching it in that way, shape, or form. At the heart of Reiki is a beautiful set of precepts. And living by these precepts is what makes a practitioner live in their integrity. So if you are looking for someone to receive Reiki from, so if you're looking for a professional and you want to receive a Reiki experience, you would want to be watching and following and listening to how they speak, their calm energy. They'd want to be grounding and comforting to you and very respectful and non-judgmental, because living and breathing the intentions behind Reiki is everything. So these beautiful intentions or precepts embody compassionate living, and they come from the Buddhist principles of karuna. And that means kindness and compassion to all beings. And this humility and gratitude comes from not angering, not worrying, being kind to all living things, being honest in your work, and in healing yourself and in living by these principles, we find true mastery. It's not mastery of Reiki because it's expansive, it's infinite, it's mastery of ourselves. So consider you have trillions of cells in your body. They are universal life force, but we get blockages, we get sick, we get tired, we get traumas and tensions in the body. We often get disease. Our systems within our system don't work. What Reiki does is it helps clear and balances those systems. I've done a lot of case studies, and my practitioners, honestly, the transformation I've seen over the last few years of teaching this system has been just awe-inspiring. So from a case studies background from teaching, what I've seen is my students have gone on to go into hospitals in palliative care. So they offer Reiki as a supportive structure for palliative care, pain management, cancer recovery, obviously opening up those psychic capacities. So for people who are wanting to heal ancestral lines, go into understanding their purpose, sense of clarity, deep peace. So many of my students have gone on. I've got beautiful Melissa Perner, who's a really good friend of mine, a hormone coach. I'll be having her on in the next couple of episodes. She uses Reiki energy to balance and flow hormones. I've got directed healers and root cause therapists that use Reiki as a component to support the opening of the energy centers and balancing of the chakras. There are so many beautiful students who have gone on to open up business and teach. And then I've got beautiful students who are just on their own personal growth journey, who have been in deep grief, who have connected closer to people that have passed in their lives. So Reiki has this beautiful capacity to bring more love, to bring more joy into your life. It's something you must experience to really understand. What I would suggest to you is it will be different every single time because universal life force within and around you is always fluctuating and changing. We are always contracting, expanding. So there's this beautiful ebb and flow between expanding and then we come back into contract and expand and contract. So depending on where you are in your life, in your circumstances, in your age, in your time frame, will depend on how you receive this energy. So the students that I have taught, and I've taught quite a few students over the last 5 years, it's been profound to witness their journey, and each journey of theirs has been unique. And what they are now doing is they are spreading this beautiful, joyful energy system out to other people. So that's that part. The case studies with my clients, what I love is a lot of people come to me when they want to receive healing or energy to be fixed. They want it to be an escape. They don't really want to go into the depths of their inner world. They want someone else to make it go away. A lot of us, when we hear about Reiki, we say it's a deeply relaxing, loving, guided journey into healing. It's not always that way. Being really clear with you is sometimes working on ourselves is very uncomfortable and can quite often bring about lots of pain in the body, in the mind. It can be quite turbulent in our emotions. And you're probably saying, well, why the fuck would I want to do this then? Why would I want to learn or have a healing session or receive this beautiful practice if it's going to make me feel, uncomfortable? Because think of it like when you're aerating your soil in the garden and you're fertilizing it for new growth, for an opportunity for new beautiful flowers or herbs to grow or life to come out of that. beautiful soil. That is the same as for you. And it can support you in your health. And that takes time. It takes an open willingness to be uncomfortable. It's not always uncomfortable. So the case study, I have seen amazing transformations through Reiki healings on their own. I don't typically only offer that because now I have left mainstream and brought all of my qualities into my multidimensional approach of bridging the gap between science and spirit. Embodied spirituality encompasses Reiki, hands-on healing. I believe we all have healing hands. It brings in the nature of energy through changing conscious states, breath work, brain waves, talk therapy, closed eye processes, not just meditations, but ways to light up the brain centers and open up the heart center and all of these sorts of qualities. So I don't typically now work from one modality, which is why I've used, if you look at me on Insta, it's energy architecture. Because for me, now that I have 23 years of embodying universal life force, Reiki system, and other systems like yogic philosophy, coaching, and counseling, what I've started to realize is I don't want to limit this beautiful potential to one area. But what I have done is every time I've learnt a new modality, I have stuck with that before I've brought something else in for at least a few years. So I could get really good at understanding, practicing, embodying to the guts of those qualities until I moved into bringing something else into the skill set. Because otherwise I'd be a confused practitioner and I wouldn't know where the fuck to go with you. So if you have any pain in your body, inflammation, insomnia, you are at the cusp of trying to make different decisions and you need some clarity, if you need deep peace and relaxation, if you are going through cancer treatment, if you are in recovery for anything, if you are in different places of addiction, then this could be a beautiful opportunity for you to give Reiki or energy healing a go. And like I said to you before, it's not always comfortable, but growth isn't comfortable all of the time. So I always suggest to my clients, if you're just coming for a Reiki session once a month minimum for at least, 3 to 4 sessions and see how you go. So that's a little bit about my background in Reiki. When we teach Reiki, there are 3 levels, Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and Reiki 3. Reiki 1 is about self. It's not about a person that's only at level 1 isn't able to go and set up a business or charge any money for offering of their services. It's about learning to harness universal life force, about working with their own energy system, about living into the principles of metta, kindness and compassion and humility. It is about attuning and getting comfortable with a high frequency caliber. And what typically happens when I teach Reiki is I give you a bit of an underpinning of universal life force, that we have these cells, that in every cell is life force, the system of Reiki, and I attune them. So I use a series of symbols, master symbols, and intention to attune their instrument, which is themselves, to a higher vibrational frequency. And then we practice this hands-on healing system, which goes around the body, gentle light touch, or you can stand back and offer Reiki through not touching a person's body. And typically it starts around the belly chakras, energy centers in the belly. We come up around the shoulders, we go around the head, and then we come down to the feet to ground and anchor in. Every practitioner will offer you a different style of service. For me, as I've grown into my skill set, I get people into a progressive relaxation. So if you are really stressed, I might offer a tense and relax. You might do some gentle movement or some gentle breath work. Then I guide you into a meditation, and then I go quiet and there's some beautiful music on. You get a blanket on, you have an eye pillow, and a lot of my clients go to sleep. So you really don't have to do anything when you're laying on the bed, and you typically lay on your back. Some of my practitioners, they put you on your front. They also give you a gentle massage at the end. That is not the system I teach, but once you learn and master the system, a lot of people will bring their own other modalities in to share with you. So Reiki level 1, when you are learning, that is all about self-healing, about personal development, about understanding a little bit more about energy. Level 2 is practitioner level, advanced training, where they learn symbols. They learn how to use and master the symbols, and they can actually learn about the business side. I typically coach people from there in the business elements of Reiki, setting up Reiki practice, or the insurance parts, the marketing part, the charging, the ethics and the principles of ethics, what can go wrong, what can go right. Level 3 is mastery, and it doesn't mean mastery of Reiki because we are infinite. It is about self-mastery and being able to teach the system of Reiki. And that means that the students learn about the attunement process, how to work the master symbols, and then they can go and spread more love and joy on the planet. With each of these levels, there are attunements to a higher frequency, and the attunements are really specific to my intention. So my intention for my students is that they are learning a whole new caliber in every level that they're in. Reiki in and of itself is a system. Learning and harnessing universal life force is not something that you can really understand without feeling or experiencing it. So I would encourage you to book yourself in for a beautiful session. Practitioners can give you distance healing as well, so you don't need to be on the bed in person. You can receive it through the quantum field, which is another conversation. But for now, this has given you a little taste. It is something that has completely changed my life, and I'm so deeply grateful for having the opportunity to have gone on this journey with my healing hands, to be able to support communities, to be able to teach Reiki, to be able to then go into teaching spiritual development and helping people in their business and the case studies. And oh my goodness, I could just go on about it, but try it. If you have any questions, get in touch. It's really something that can't be described. It's like plugging into a power cord. It's good for so many things. So try it out yourself a few times. Let me know how you go. And until next time, stay batshit crazy. Thank you for joining us on The Embodied Spirit Uncensored. Today's journey may have ended, but your personal transformation has only just begun. So keep channeling the insights and energies from our episode. And as you move forward, remember, this podcast is for those who are not just living, but are seeking to live profoundly. Continue to explore, expand and evolve with us. Make sure to follow this series, connect with us on Instagram at Nicole D'Alessandro Perth, or visit www.nicoledalessandro.com.au for more transformative content. You can also find me on Facebook at Nicole D'Alessandro. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and more importantly, stay batshit crazy as you embody and explore beyond your current realm of existence. I'll see you later for now, and remember, this journey to embodying your spirit is the most significant journey you'll ever undertake.